So I don't know if you saw in the news recently, but Brittney Griner has been traded officially. I know you've seen it. Yeah. I know we've mentioned it.
We talked about it before. Traded for who is she traded for?
The Lord of War.
Lord of War himself.
Himself. A known arms dealer. Everyone, even the internet, would agree it's a shitty trade. The WNBA only makes shitty trades, but this was the U.S. government. There are numerous reasons why they traded for it. I understand. All political. All massive choice for favor in communities that they are not polling well in. This is a complete grab for the attention of people who are not digging deeper. And they're like, oh, that's a great thing. They got this. But there are U.S. service members still in prison in Russia that they could have traded for, that have so much more time spent in those prisons. So Paul Whelan vows to bring Biden vows to bring long-time detainee Paul Whelan home from Russia too, now that he's got a bunch of kickback. His original statement was that he was super proud. He had the wife of Brittney Griner come on because she's of the LGBTQIA plus community. So she jumped up, made a statement how proud she was that her wife was coming home. I don't think anyone at that point was second guessing that it was a good thing, because it's still a good thing.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's the good thing that they want. Where do you land on it?
I mean, I think it's good we got her back, but there's still a lot of other people trapped over there.
Do you think she should have been first?
That's a tough one because she is a civilian. The other people are servicemen, past, present, whatever.
Someone had said that
it's rough because some of these people have been there for almost 10 years.
Suffering.
And they're more equipped for it, but 10 fucking years.
And she was sentenced to 9 years for willfully breaking the law, claiming it wasn't willful. But if you do not know,
but ignorance of the law,
there's no ignorance here. She has played in Russia and played for the Russian team since 2014, on and off every year. She knows the local laws.
So she either knew to test not marijuana positive.
She didn't test.
Was told to not get caught.
She brought vape cartridges into Russia. This is not something you leave in your package or your luggage. This isn't something you can just fly with.
They rip your shit over if they see that on scanner. And they see everything on the scanner.
They see everything. So this is definitely one of those things everyone does their checklist. What do you have? What are you taking? What is available to take? What is legal? The measurements on a flight. You don't want to be a terrorist or thought to be. You don't want a cavity search. Vape cartridges. I feel like that's a teenager who tried to pocket from a store that they went to a bunch of times. They knew the layout. They knew the restrictions. Don't steal. And they got caught on camera. And this person was serving their time. Doesn't look like they were mistreated. Doesn't look like their hair was shaved or any crazy shit was going on. It's not like they were made to be some person figurehead. It was during a wartime. So everyone was like, oh no, free Brittney Griner, free Brittney, Brittney's the best. Yep, nobody's realizing that, in my opinion, they were the last to be deserving. I understand Paul Whelan and their family had said something to the degree of, well, they have a longer life to live. They have more to give to society than what he has. And I understand they're just stringing for hope on that. Because, well, I'm already here. I've been here 10 years, haven't seen my family, my kids, nothing. This is a fucking travesty. I don't care what president, what administration did this. This is a travesty that they picked from the bottom of the rung for fame, for media outlets, for everyone to say, good job, Joe. We're proud of you. All right, now that we said that, can we boot this man out of the fucking White Office? Out of the White House? That's my opinion. If he was the one who said, yes, let's do this, or let's negotiate this, I don't think Russia was the one who was like, we'll give you the ball player. We want Lord of War.
It's seems like one of those things they'd offer as a joke, you know?
I don't think they would even want to do that because, if anything, I would think they assume that the Paul Whelan trade would be more amenable to a government, you know? Mm-hmm. Because if Victor Bout, who is the arms dealer, who's apparently beloved is what they wanted, the U.S. and Russian have exchanged jailed U.S. basketball star Brittney Griner for notorious arms dealer Victor Bout, held in American prison for 12 years. The movie The Lord of War was made after this man. I love Nicolas Cage. But if any of that crazy story, I think Jared Leto was in it, a bunch of people, if any of that crazy story is true, this man is a war criminal in many countries. A war criminal to a pothead. And don't take that. Listen, if you want to smoke pot, do you. But definitely, I will not be taking marijuana to other countries where they can chop my hands off, do crazy shit. That's like saying, I'm going to go and celebrate Pride in Iran. No, that you follow the laws of the land that you're there. That is what you respect their culture, their ways. That's their rules. Certain states, marijuana is still illegal. If I take marijuana into Reno, Nevada, I go to jail. Right?
Yeah.
So I just don't do it. How hard? It is not some like absolute necessity where I can't choose to do or not to do. So what is the difference? Why are they first? I don't understand. I personally don't see their life as being more important than this service member who's been there longer. It's almost like they're waiting in line, and just because she was of a different color or more media trendy, she got put to the front of the line. That saddens me. That saddens me for the entire country. Like, we're seeing this going like, fuck everybody else. Do you want a cookie? You can't have it. Person in the back gets it. They're new here.
There's more to it than that.
But you get my point. It's just like they are picking and choosing. There is no rules to this. There is no like value in the trade. We already know that the trade was horrible. But man, make her wait a couple months, trade somebody else, or get more.
Might get a murdered her. Who knows? These other people have been there.
We all assume that. We all assume that it is a murderous, vile, terroristic country, right? They're treated pretty well. It is still a jail. They're all alive, and none of them are saying that they've been tortured or mistreated in any way.
Speak out against that while you're captured.
They can.
I'm being mistreated.
It's on television. They're allowed on television. That's why the Paul Whelan, as you saw in the previous little clip, was putting up notes saying it's a sham trial, talking. You can make those statements. You're still free to speak. It's not like North Korea. North Korea.
It's a lot like North Korea.
Yesterday, 2 boys were streaming clips on their cell phones in North Korea and were shot to death by government officials. I saw that clip.
You're not supposed to have the internet.
Well, you're not supposed to have propaganda against North Korea.
Everything's flagged as propaganda against North Korea.
Yeah, for watching films of South Korean movies, TV.
Yeah. So it's just TV they were watching, but everything's propaganda to North Korea.
That's crazy. South Korean movies, aged between 16 and 17, were executed in front of and horrified locals on an airfield in Hasan. The Mirror reported, adding to that the incident took place in October, but information about their killing only emerged last week. So those who watch and distribute South Korean movies or dramas are those who disrupt social order by murdering other people. We will not be forgiven and be sentenced to the maximum penalty, death, the report added. So these kids were shot for just watching Korean dramas.
Those who watch and distribute South Korean movies and dramas, and those who disrupt social order by murdering other people. What did they just do then?
Yeah. It's stupid. We understand he wants to have full control, but I don't see Russia as bad as North Korea, personally.
North Korea is definitely tip of the top.
Yeah, they are.
They want kids to be named Bomb, Gun, and Satellite because the other names are too soft, non-patriotic.
Imagine if Andrew Tate ran a country.
Kind of.
He
got fat and ran a country.
I don't think his father wasn't, crazy fat. He'd gotten fat in his old age. But if you're at the top of the pyramid and you're eating or being fed, grapes and food and being adored, what do you have to work and do for? Sure, it's one of those things. But I'm saying, if Andrew Tate's mentality of like misogyny, power, male privilege, all this shit was distilled into one foreign country, and then just 300 years, you'd have Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
So it all starts with a match, right? Just saying. But that's where I feel Brittney Griner should not have been released. I'd give her a year in jail. In the States, if she went state to state, she would have paid one massive fine and done jail time. But she did this on a global stage. You tried to defile the country and their laws for f***ing weed. And then now you're like put on this pedestal as some hero. You survived. No, you should be ashamed. I really think that Brittney Griner should never play in the WNBA again.
People are going to love that you say she should be ashamed.
She should. You should at least acknowledge that you willingly tried to get away with breaking their laws. I'm not saying you should be ashamed of getting out. I'm saying you should be ashamed of what you did to get in. It's not like they just planted it on her. You know what I mean?
They could have.
They've already admitted to having it. That wasn't the problem. They made a big deal of it.
Detained.
Yeah, being detained. I think something about over 24 hours for an interrogation. But they do that here in the States. You're left in a room with the AC turned way down. You want to go home. They give you an option. Sign this confession. It's not the best way, but it works. It's better than Guantanamo before it closed down. You get fucking waterboarded for an answer. I just don't think this was the right play for the U.S. I think a lot of people stand by that it's not the right play, but I definitely think there's got to be a lot of self-reflection for Brittney Griner on how they got into that space.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that, would you feel bad for yourself or just bitch at the world for doing it to you? Like if you yourself went to another country tomorrow and tried to sneak in vape cartridges, put the hypothetical there, willingly tried to do it and got caught, it'd be scary, right?
Yeah.
Would you blame the country?
No, it'd be me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be stupid enough to smuggle illicit substances into a country.
That's where I feel like
legality.
they should be ashamed. Because it's all social media and freedom now. They don't even have to work. They could sit there and tell their story, write a book. I guarantee there's going to be a book. The rights are already being signed today.
Movie rights.
If they made a movie for the January 6th Capitol stuff behind Trump and Pence, they had two like documentaries. I guarantee there will be a movie on this within 6 months. Some documentary, something. But they had that out in like 90 days. So somebody was like constantly recording. I guarantee somebody's been making
The dramatic recreation is already under works.
Oh, yeah. Life in the Tsar.
See, Team 6 had to escort her from the Russian plane back.
It was just some Russian diplomat that had walked her to the plane and then
Some dude just walked up and then they traded people and then they both walked
got a
up
hug.
the plane. Yeah.
Like, come on.
For Whelan, their latest person they've asked for is Germany has detained a Russian spy at some point in time, and they're like, USA, get him back for us. We'll give you Paul.
And I bet we get him. That's not the problem. Russia, now that they've gotten one, they will get many. They'll get many requests, and it's like, oh, USA, they came through. We know who to call. USA. Nosfidania. That's just the way they're going to play this game now, because if I had that type of leverage over a supplier or something, and I'm like, hey, I got something you want, I've got a source on a part, a source on a line, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this over and over again, I'm going to get the most value for the first.
Yeah.
The most.
Work out the rest later. You already got
exactly. I got what I wanted. So I got the arms terrorist that, probably has a weapon stash of nuclear grade plutonium.
Or just a weapon stash anywhere.
There's a reason they wanted him.
Can you imagine that he just even one shipping container buried in a desert somewhere full of just rifles or ammo or something?
We already know that in his we'll say, movie or the like of his life, he had weapon stashes across many countries.
Even if he just had one, he's probably going to have way more.
But there's a reason they wanted him. It's not like they wanted to chit chat. They want his contacts or any of this stuff. He's a man who can get things done, knows how to move weapons in and out of countries. Why would they want him? For what reason? It's not sentimental. There is business. There is either money or power to be had. And they traded him for someone who is not money or power, but social media presence. So now if Brittney Griner starts to talk well about the Biden administration, Joe's going to run for 24. And Brittney Griner is going to be the face of, he saved my life. He saved my family. He saved my dignity. Oh, he made me feel so special. Now I am a gay person of color who was mistreated in a foreign prison that was whisked to safety by the Biden administration. I already know the stories they'll tell. It's going to be good. Imagine the headlines. Person of color mistreated for sexuality in prison in foreign country, saved by Biden administration. All was done, back-breaking hours. Joe himself spent 2,000 man-hours, 7 days a week, trying to secure her release. He's your president. He's her president. Or he's her president. He's your president. You know, he'd do for you what he did for her. And in the meantime, he's taking Alka-Seltzer and fucking, heartburn medication and sitting down and going,
he's old.
You know, it's just one of those things. He's old. He's not doing anything. I bet Kamala had more of a hand in this.
Kamala looks very uncomfortable.
You should see her in most of the interview here. Even the wife looks uncomfortable.
Loved ones remains a priority for my administration, every person in my administration involved in this. We're going to continue to work to bring home every American who continues to endure such an injustice. We also want to prevent
every time he says something of substance, the twitch in the eyes. You know, like she's probably been through it, the runaround.
They also probably made her come up and stand up here.
Oh yeah, I bet this is.
Hello, we're here to talk about one thing about you. Now please stay as I do the rest of this interview.
The problem with the military when I was in there was that everything was so last minute. Somebody at the top made a decision and it had to happen now at the bottom. That's the same thing at the White House. You rush to get the person happy. So there are probably 2,000 people that work in or around the White House and in that area of expertise. And when Biden says something or Kamala says something, that goes downhill. So I wonder if it was like, oh, we got Brittney out, call the wife, get her here today for whatever, boom. I'm not media trained for this. I don't understand. You know, just standing there, just blinking at every crazy thing he says because
Kamala at least straight at camera.
Kamala's tongue is at the bottom of her jaw, just going.
More American families from suffering this pain and separation. And I strongly urge all Americans to take precautions, including reviewing the State Department's travel advisories before they travel overseas, which now includes warnings about the risk of being wrongfully detained by a foreign government. Make no mistake about it. This work is not easy. Negotiations are always difficult. There are never any guarantees. But it's my job as President of the United States to make the hard calls and protect American citizens everywhere in the world, anywhere in the world. And I'm proud that today we have made one more family whole again. So welcome home, Brittney. And now I'd like to invite Sherelle to say a few words to you all. Of course, she's not excited at all about this. Sherelle, it's all yours, kiddo.
You see how Kamala and Sherelle are basically excited. Well, Kamala's excited. Like, oh, well, he's going to have you talk. I didn't know this. You go, girl. Like, that's the look. Like, look at this look of like, oh, so excited for you. It's your moment, your 15 minutes of fame. In reality, this is going to, I don't care if it was a lesbian couple, a straight couple, a gay couple, this will destroy a family to be this picked apart. Because I'm not bringing up their personal life, but I know others will. They absolutely are going to dive into every aspect, who Sherelle was with when Brittney was gone, did she stay faithful?
Well, they're gonna find
Is there people?
Somebody kissed someone somewhere
Exactly.
years ago.
Oh, look,
who
there was
said,
X, Y, and Z. There's all kinds of shit. They're gonna dig it up. People sit at home and they just do this. It's a hobby. It's a burning passion to know what everyone like.
we
Kim,
have our fair share of haters, and they've got nothing better to
Come at me.
do from
I just
the
love
2
it.
hours they talk to us in a day, other than
well, we have one that is called over 5,000 times. Miss Bolton, how you been? But it's one of those things where if the haters are your biggest motivators, they drive up the numbers. They'll watch a video 300 times. I would absolutely say that I have watched this interview 5 or 6 times, and CNN and Fox are benefiting from it because I hate the fact that they did this. I can't understand how this was a good trade for Americans. I think it puts Americans in danger, and it puts a precedent in danger that we are weak. We cannot be weak on a global stage, because if we are, we will be under somebody's heel. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Somebody will come up and say, give me your lunch money. It's not as simple as that, but it's going to be, when we look at this 50 years from now and people are telling the history books, it's going to say, well, it started with a prisoner transport, prisoner negotiation. It started with us giving them a little bit too much, and they took it all.
Yeah, life can be super happy, life can be super sad. I'm trying super hard to separate the good and bad. I go back to my future just to get to my past, but knowing me, my DeLorean will probably crash.